Hi, everyone. This is my second attempt, actually. Um, I got a little bit lost before, and I thought, let me start all over. Maybe that's what Easter is too. It is actually. It's a new beginning, and this year I kind of missed the fact that Easter was coming, and all of a sudden I realized it's here, and I wanted to talk with you about something that you know, because this is the thing that I'm here to remind you of something you know. And let me start with a story about a story, kind of. Do you know the feeling when you read a novel and it's really captivating you, and there's this amazing plot, and there's this hero that you really identify with, and it's so important for you how things are going to work out for that person. And you turn pages and you read, and it goes up and it goes down, and horrible things happen and wonderful things happen, and love and death and sickness and joy, and it all is there. And it's like a whole journey, and then at the end of it, it's like it all comes together. When it's a great novel, that's what happens. All comes together, and in a way that makes it a happy end, that it all came together. And the funny thing with reading those stories is that, of course, the plot and what happens means something. If it wasn't there, you wouldn't turn the pages, right? And at the same time, it's not the plot and the actions and what happens that makes the difference. It's your experience of it. It's the feelings that you have, the way you care about the hero, the way it means everything to you, which way it goes. Identify, or you can relate to it. So, hello, Mohammed. So it becomes, the book becomes part of you, and it all really happens within you. And it's kind of the same with our lives, is that we perhaps rarely think of our lives as a good book, but it actually is a fantastic book written by the best author ever, I believe. And people that have reached a mature age, such as myself and older than me, when you look back at your life, you can see this whole journey, the ups and the downs, and the pain and the joy and the love and the death and all of it. And you see how it all comes together and came together. You see how this there was a beauty to the whole journey, and it all came together and all brought you to where you are. And that leaves you with such an amazing sense of meaning and joy and peace. And there's actually a research that shows that people experience the highest level of meaningfulness and contentment and joy in the 60s and the 70s, and probably also in the 80s, because there you can look back and see, wow, look what, no matter what I had to go through, look what it brought me. Look what gifts were in that. And that makes the whole life a gift. And of course, it shouldn't be necessary to wait until the end of your life to have that feeling. It shouldn't be necessary. And I'm wondering if it's possible to, or I know it's possible, but I would like to kind of shrink the perspective and see, can we have that same experience of meaning and joy without having to look at the whole life, but maybe having a smaller perspective. And again, when people look back at their life, they don't really look back at what happened. They look back at how it made them feel, what it meant to them, what meaning it gave them, right? So it's not the details and the what was happening that really means something. It's what we experience. Hello, Tinuia, and thank you. So what if we could shrink that perspective? So because this is a Corona time, perhaps, I came to think of a couple of examples of just a few days where the meaning showed up. And one was long time, very, very, very long time ago, when I was 12 or something like that. And yeah, I lived back in Poland. I lived in Poland back then. And there was this flu epidemic, and it was really, really, really bad. So my mother, my father, my brother, my whole family, they were in bed with high fever, and I was the only one that wasn't sick. So I was to take care of them. Now, the thing was that the way I was brought up, I had certain chores and things I could figure out how to do. And making food was not of them. For some reason, maybe it was just the tradition back then in that culture. My mother would be the one that would make the food most of the time. Sometimes my father. I knew nothing about that. But my family was very, very sick, and they still needed some food. So as it played out, I was the only one that was in good shape, and my mother would, like through the fever, give me instructions on how to make food for them. So I did. I did it through those few days. And I did everything, whatever was needed, I did that, which somehow was not the role I usually had in my family. And I remember right after that, and already while it was happening, that feeling of confidence, of wow, I was able to give something, and I was good at it, and it helped them, and it was such a beautiful feeling. So and something that I still remember, like silly little thing, but I still remember it. I don't remember how exactly they were sick or what exactly I was doing. I remember that feeling of fulfillment because I was able to give that to them, and of confidence. The other day, I was talking with one of my coaching clients, and he said, and he shared that on Facebook, so it's not a secret. He said that he just had a flu, and maybe it was Corona, maybe it wasn't. I think actually it was before the Corona outburst here. Never mind, but he had been like really sick, and on one hand he was like, worried because he couldn't work during the time, and he's an entrepreneur, he has his own business, and like so many other people with their own business, there's always the money shadow fear hanging, and now I cannot work. And at some point during that, he just had to surrender. He could not work. And one thing that happened was that he read some really inspiring and helpful books during that time. But the other thing that opened for him during that period was how much he loved his family and how much they love him and how much it meant. And it's not that he didn't know that, but all of a sudden he knew it at a deeper level, at a higher level, at a more expansive level. And this is what he took with him after he got well. And again, my guess is that he doesn't probably, ponder, how was it exactly to have fever? How was it exactly to be sick? How was it exactly not to be able to work for 3 days or 5 days or whatever? What he remembers is that feeling of love that opened more for him. And the experience that, again, that we can have with our whole life, but also with shorter periods of our lives, and really also with just one day in our life, is that it is so beautifully arranged. It is so beautifully designed. If you look even at just one day or a very short period of time and look back at it and then see what it brought you, what kind of gifts it brought. And sometimes the gifts are something, like directly something beautiful we experience or something new we get within, or on in our other ways. And sometimes a gift is to see a part of ourselves that is difficult to meet, but meeting it is a gift, because therein lies the the possibility and the potential for healing and for transformation. And what we tend to forget in our busy days, hello Hilde, in our busy days, and while we're being overwhelmed during our daily life, daily work, again, if you have your own business, that there is always like an extra pressure to it. Not always, but it's part of the journey for many. It doesn't have to be, but it is part for the journey of the journey for many. And then on top of that, the current situation with the coronavirus, with the whatever challenges it may bring in your own life, whatever it may bring in your family's life, in your community, your country, the world. There are more and more voices now that show the meaning of it on a bigger scale. Like many people, more and more people speak about humanity awakening, and that there are gifts here in our awareness, our sense of responsibility, and look what happens with nature when we're not busy flying around and polluting, etc., etc. But the same is true in our individual lives, that whatever happens, as we move in a more or less chaotic way through our days and our weeks, there is a perfect design to it. So my invitation for you, for me, for all of us, is to really notice what is the meaning for you personally during this time. What is being shown to you? What kind of gifts are given to you? What challenges are being shown so that you can work with them and grow with them and expand from them? What gifts are being shown that you perhaps share more now than you ever had before? Because again, it's not our circumstances that are important. They are beautifully designed like a framework, like a book. But the really interesting and exciting and meaningful and eventually joyful part of it is, how do we react to all of that? And there are no good and bad reactions. It's just the thing. How do we react? What do we find? And these are the Easter eggs. These are the hidden gifts in every day and also in this situation right now. What do we learn about ourselves? Who are we? Have you had experiences perhaps that, oh, I didn't know myself like that. I hear it from several people these days, from my coaching clients, and I've also seen it in myself. Oh, I'm discovering new sides of myself. This is me too. This is who I am too. Who am I? There are lots of Easter eggs these days for us as we move through it, however we move through it. So don't get too hung up on what happens, and bring more awareness in what's coming to you. Okay? Thank you for listening. And if there's some thoughts that come, some ideas, some observations, would love to know that. And also, just as a practical thing, one thing that you can do every day at the end of the day or the beginning of the next day, depending on how you work, is that look at the past 24 hours and then take like a view of it, and yes, you can look at what happened, but that's just the outer frame of the day. Then look at what gifts have been given to me. Gifts of awareness, gifts of discoveries. What kind of gifts have been given to me through this last 24 hours? And then bring meaning to that. Because no matter how stressful it is, you can do that, and you can, oh, there was something there. Oh, there was something there. It's like an Easter egg hunt. So I wish you a joyful hunting, a meaningful hunting, because I know there's a lot for you to find there, just like there's a lot for me to find there. Thank you for listening. Bye for now.